In a world where humans were no longer the dominant species, an extraordinary event was about to unfold, one that would alter the fate of humanity forever. The galaxy, once ruled by powerful alien races, had begun to notice something strange. Something was different about the humans who had been left behind on distant planets. What started as a small anomaly soon spread across the universe, creating an unstoppable ripple of curiosity and fear. It was a scent, but not just any scent. It was uniquely human. The aliens first caught wind of it on a small, isolated human colony. At first, they dismissed it as nothing more than an oddity, something they could not explain. But over time, the scent grew stronger. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered. Unlike the harsh, metallic smells of the cities or the flowery aromas of the alien worlds, this scent was something far more complex, earthy, magnetic, and most importantly, irresistible. It began to travel between planets, carried by humans who didn't even know they were spreading it. The first alien to notice was Kethur, a commander in the Galaxian Empire. Sether was no stranger to power. He had led hundreds of successful conquests across different worlds. But the moment he caught the scent, he felt something shift inside him. His senses were overwhelmed, and for the first time in his long life, he felt something he could not control: desire. Not for wealth or status, but for the scent. The human scent. Is this possible? Sether muttered to himself as he scanned the readings. His ship's systems confirmed the source. A young human woman living on a distant planet, far from any major galactic capital. But what made this discovery even more alarming was the energy surrounding her scent. It was far stronger than anyone could have anticipated. Sether immediately relayed the information to the High Council, a group of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They were skeptical at first, dismissing it as nothing more than an exaggerated story from one of their commanders. But when they, too, smelled the human scent, their skepticism quickly turned to concern. No one could explain why this scent, originating from humans, carried such an undeniable power. Back on Earth, however, the humans had no idea they were at the center of an intergalactic mystery. Life continued as usual, with small conflicts and struggles playing out in the streets, in classrooms, and in boardrooms. No one suspected that their very existence was about to be upended by the very essence of their being. Among the humans was Elena, a young scientist who worked in a laboratory, studying the human body. She had been working on a project that examined the different aspects of human biology, but there was one thing she couldn't explain: the unusual, almost magnetic nature of the human scent. Her experiments had always shown the same result: a unique chemical composition that, when released, had an almost hypnotic effect on living creatures. It wasn't until one day, during an experiment gone wrong, that Elena's discovery would take on a life of its own. While she was working with a chemical compound designed to enhance certain sensory receptors in the human body, a small spill caused a reaction far stronger than she could have imagined. The scent it produced was not only overpowering, but seemed to linger in the air for longer than anything she had ever tested before. Her colleagues, initially dismissive, started to notice something different about her. They began to act strangely around her, more attentive, more focused, even more protective. Elena was puzzled. She couldn't explain it, but she felt it too. There was something different about her. She looked in the mirror and noticed something that hadn't been there before. Her eyes seemed sharper, her skin glowed, and the air around her felt charged with energy. It didn't take long for the galactic powers to find out. News of the human scent spread like wildfire across the stars, and soon, alien factions from all corners of the galaxy were descending on Earth, each seeking to harness this new discovery for their own purposes. The first to arrive was the Vrixian fleet. Known for their ruthless and cunning tactics, the Vrixians were the most feared species in the galaxy. Their ships appeared on Earth's radar as small blips. At first, no one took them seriously, but as the ships grew closer, the military began to scramble forces, trying to understand who they were and what they wanted. We cannot ignore this. The Vrixians will stop at nothing to claim this power, General Wraith of Earth's defense forces warned. We must prepare. But what could humanity do to defend itself against the most advanced alien species? The military had never faced anything like this before. The Vrixians had technology that could wipe out entire cities in seconds. Yet they didn't attack right away. They, too, were drawn to the scent. In a hidden lab deep within Earth's largest space station, Elena sat in isolation, trying to piece together the mystery. She knew her scent was the key, but what she didn't understand was why it was so powerful. Why did it affect the aliens so much? What was this connection that seemed to bind her to the fate of the universe? As the aliens approached Earth, an uneasy tension filled the air. There was no doubt about it. The scent of humanity was a game-changer. It was a discovery that would either unite or destroy the galaxy. Elena's fate, and the fate of all humans, hung in the balance. The question was no longer about whether the aliens would invade. It was about whether humanity was ready to handle the responsibility of such power. The first wave of aliens began to land. Their ships shimmered with otherworldly energy, and they were coming with one purpose: to claim what was rightfully theirs. Elena knew it was only a matter of time before everything changed. But would humanity be able to survive the consequences of their own irresistible scent? The answer was still unknown, but one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. The truth about the human scent was out, and now the galaxy knew what had been hidden for centuries. Earth, once a distant and insignificant planet, had suddenly become the center of attention for every alien race. But this newfound focus came with a heavy cost. No longer could humans live their lives in peace. They had unknowingly set into motion a chain of events that would forever change the future of the galaxy. Elena, who had first uncovered the power of the scent, felt a weight on her shoulders that she had never imagined. In her mind, she had only been studying the human body, researching the ways in which people reacted to certain chemicals. But what she had inadvertently unleashed was something far more complex: a gift and a curse combined. As more alien fleets began to descend upon Earth, the government scrambled to prepare. Military forces were placed on high alert, but even they knew there was little they could do to protect humanity from the overwhelming power of the alien invaders. Their weapons, their defenses, they were nothing compared to the technology that these beings possessed. And yet, none of the aliens seemed ready to strike. There was a strange calm that came with their arrival, almost as if they were waiting for something or someone. Elena couldn't escape the feeling that her discovery was far more important than she had ever realized. Each passing day brought new revelations, new strange occurrences. News outlets reported sightings of alien ships hovering above major cities, while mysterious groups of aliens roamed the streets, drawn to something only they could sense. The real question, however, wasn't why the aliens were here. It was what they wanted with the human scent. As Elena sat alone in her lab, surrounded by her research and endless data, she couldn't shake the feeling that the answers were right in front of her. The scent wasn't just a simple chemical reaction. It was a key. But to what? Her questions were answered when a member of the Galaxian Empire finally made contact. Sether, the commander who had first detected the scent, sent a message to Earth. He was no longer the invader, the conqueror. He was a negotiator now. His message was simple: "We know the power of your scent, and we will make you an offer. Join us, and together we can reshape the galaxy. But refuse, and face the consequences." The message echoed in Elena's mind. Join us? What could they possibly want with humanity? She had seen enough of the alien species to know that they had no respect for human life. To them, Earth was nothing more than a pawn in a much larger game. Still, Elena knew she had to learn more. She couldn't afford to sit idly by while the fate of humanity was being decided by aliens whose motives were unclear. She began digging deeper into her research, hoping to find a way to control the scent, to understand its true purpose. One night, after hours of studying, she discovered something astonishing. The human scent wasn't just a biological reaction. It was a genetic trait, a natural ability that had been hidden deep within human DNA for centuries. It was a gift that had been dormant, waiting for the right time to emerge. The scent, Alina realized, had the power to amplify emotions, to influence minds, and even to control minds. It was a weapon more powerful than any laser gun or energy shield. Alina knew that if the aliens were allowed to use this power, they could manipulate not just humanity, but every species in the galaxy. This was no longer about survival. It was about preserving freedom. And if the scent fell into the wrong hands, everything that had been fought for, everything that had been built over centuries, could be undone in an instant. But there was a problem. Alina couldn't control the scent herself. It wasn't just a matter of containing it. It was something that had grown far beyond her understanding. She couldn't stop it. The scent had already begun to spread, and no matter how hard she tried, there was no way to reverse its effect. And then something even more terrifying happened. A faction of humans, led by a powerful but mysterious figure, stepped forward, claiming that they, too, could control the scent. They had developed a technology capable of harnessing the power of the human scent and using it for their own purposes. But these humans weren't interested in protecting Earth. They wanted to dominate it. They planned to use the scent as a bargaining chip, to make deals with the alien forces in exchange for power. Alina's heart sank as she realized the magnitude of the situation. The aliens weren't the only threat. There were humans who were willing to sacrifice everything to take control of the very thing that had already begun to tear the galaxy apart. With the stakes higher than ever, Alina knew she had to act fast. She had to warn the rest of humanity, even if it meant going against those who sought to use the scent for their own gain. But the question was, how could she stop this from spiraling out of control? As the alien fleets continued to hover over Earth, Alina couldn't help but wonder what the future held. She had uncovered the secret of the human scent, but now she had to live with the consequences. Would humanity rise to the challenge, or would they be consumed by the very power they had unknowingly unleashed? The galaxy was waiting for an answer, and Alina, with her knowledge and courage, would have to decide whether she would be the one to lead them into the unknown future, or whether she would become another pawn in a game much bigger than herself. The situation on Earth had grown increasingly volatile. The air felt thick with anticipation, the quiet hum of alien ships circling the globe a constant reminder that humanity was no longer in control of its fate. Alina could feel the weight of the world pressing down on her, every decision she made now carrying the potential to reshape the future. The human scent was not just a curiosity anymore. It was a catalyst. Alien factions, both known and unknown, had converged, all eager to understand it, harness it, or destroy it. Some saw it as a form of ultimate power, others as a potential weapon to be wielded in the galaxy's brutal wars. And then there were the humans who, in their desperation, sought to exploit it themselves, hoping to gain a foothold in a universe that had long underestimated them. But the true nature of the scent had yet to be fully understood, and as days passed, Alina's fear grew. What if the scent was more than a tool? What if it was something alive? She had come across reports of strange phenomena. Individuals who, when exposed to the scent, began to experience vivid hallucinations, their emotions amplified to overwhelming levels. Some even claimed to hear whispers in their minds, voices they couldn't identify, urging them to take action. Alina had seen it with her own eyes. People changing, becoming more than human, or perhaps less. It was as if the scent unlocked something dormant in the human psyche, something primal, something dangerous. She had never believed in the supernatural, but now, with each passing hour, she questioned everything she knew. Could this sense somehow be awakening abilities humans never even knew they had? Was there more to this power than simple pheromones? Her mind raced with possibilities, but she had no answers. She had to act fast before things spiraled even further. The aliens weren't just interested in the scent. They were learning to control it, manipulating the very essence of humanity's identity. In private conversations, representatives from the Galaxian Empire made it clear that Earth's fate was already sealed. Join us, and you will have the galaxy at your feet, they said. Resist, and we will take what's ours by force. The Empire, the most advanced faction in the galaxy, had been studying Earth for centuries, waiting for the right moment to strike. They knew the potential of human scent far before Elena had discovered it. But there were others, other alien species, that didn't share the same vision. Some saw the human scent as an aberration, a threat to the balance of power. Others were curious, eager to learn how it could be used to further their own goals. But in the midst of all this, a question lingered. Was there anyone on Earth who could rise above these forces, someone who could control the power of the scent and save humanity from being torn apart? Elena found herself alone in her laboratory, the flickering light of her computer casting long shadows. She had tried everything she could think of to understand the scent, but it eluded her. All her research, all the data she had collected, seemed to lead to the same dead end. The scent was too complex, too powerful to be confined to any logical pattern. And then there was the mysterious genetic marker she had found within human DNA, the one that seemed to be tied to the ability to produce the scent. Was this what the aliens were after? Was this the key to their desire to control humanity? As Elena sat back in her chair, exhausted and unsure, her mind wandered to the human factions now rising in opposition to the alien threat. There were whispers of a resistance, small groups of brave men and women who refused to bow to the alien forces, but they had no resources, no real military power. They were a ragtag collection of people united by a single belief, that humanity should have the right to choose its own destiny. But even these brave souls were vulnerable. Elena had heard rumors of betrayal within the resistance itself, of people who were secretly working for the aliens, hoping to use the scent to broker deals for power. Trust was a luxury humanity could no longer afford, and Elena had to wonder if the resistance could ever be strong enough to stand up to the combined might of alien fleets and treacherous humans. One evening, a new transmission arrived. It was encrypted, but Elena's team managed to crack the code. The message came from a source she didn't recognize, a voice that spoke in hushed tones, laden with urgency. "Elena, you don't know the full truth," the voice warned. "The scent isn't just a chemical reaction. It's a message. It's calling to something. Someone who has been waiting for this moment for centuries. Someone who was never meant to be found." Elena's heart raced as she processed the words. What did this mean? A message, a being that had been waiting for centuries. It made no sense. And yet, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that this message was the key to everything. The scent had never been about power or control. It had always been about awakening something that had been hidden for far too long. As she delved deeper into this new lead, Elena's research took a dangerous turn. The more she learned about the true origins of the scent, the more she realized that this wasn't just a biological discovery. It was a part of something much bigger, an ancient plan, a cosmic design that had been in motion long before humanity had even begun to understand its place in the universe. The scent wasn't just a product of evolution. It was part of a cosmic balance, a force that had been sent to Earth for a reason. Elena was beginning to believe that her discovery had never been an accident. And if she could unlock its full potential, it might not only save humanity but change the course of the entire galaxy. But unlocking that potential would come with a cost Elena was unsure she was ready to pay. The tension on Earth was reaching a boiling point. Elena's discovery had set off a chain reaction, one that could never be undone. The scent, which once seemed like a mere biological anomaly, was now recognized as a force that could alter the very fabric of the universe. It was clear to her now that this wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about identity. This was about humanity's place in the cosmos. The voice in the encrypted transmission had stirred something deep inside Elena. The more she thought about it, the more it consumed her thoughts. The scent isn't just a chemical reaction, the voice had said. It's a message. But who was sending it? And to whom? The possibilities were endless, and yet Elena could sense that she was dangerously close to uncovering the truth. She spent hours alone in her lab, poring over ancient texts and modern data alike. The scent was not simply an evolutionary trait. It was a key, a beacon calling out to something, someone that had been hidden from humanity for eons. But what was it? And why had it chosen now to reveal itself? Elena's research uncovered something disturbing. The scent seemed to resonate with certain frequencies that mirrored signals found in distant parts of the galaxy. The more she studied, the more she realized that the scent wasn't just a part of human biology. It was a link, a connection between Earth and another civilization. A civilization older than anything humanity could imagine. A civilization that had been watching and waiting for the right moment to make its move. At first, Elena couldn't fathom it. Could this scent really be the key to unlocking contact with an ancient race? Was this the message the universe had been waiting for? She began to feel a strange sense of urgency, as if someone, was drawing closer, waiting for the right signal to respond. But the more Elena searched, the more she found herself standing on the precipice of a truth that she wasn't sure humanity was ready to face. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the alien factions had become more desperate. They had caught wind of Elena's discovery, and it had set off a fierce race to seize control of the scent. The Galaxian Empire, always the most powerful and calculating, had moved swiftly. Their fleets gathered at the borders of Earth's solar system, their intentions clear. They sought to control the scent, not to understand it, but to weaponize it. Other factions were more cautious. They wanted to study it, unlock its secrets, and perhaps, if possible, communicate with the intelligence behind the scent. Among these factions was the Therian Collective, an ancient species of beings who had long since outgrown the need for physical forms. They existed in the realm of pure energy, a consciousness that transcended space and time. For them, the scent represented something more. An invitation to a higher state of being, a path to ascension. But Elena's concern wasn't with the Galaxian Empire or the Therians. It was with the growing power of the human factions on Earth. Some had seen the scent as a blessing, a means of gaining the strength to fight back against the alien invaders. Others, however, were more cynical. They sought to monopolize the scent for their own gain, believing that with it, they could dictate the future of humanity. These factions had begun forming their own armies, and the conflict on Earth was beginning to mirror the wars of the galaxy. But humanity, in its current state, was ill-prepared. The scent had awakened something in them, a sense of destiny, but they lacked the cohesion and resources to act on it. Elena knew that the situation was precarious. The more she thought about it, the more she understood the true nature of the scent. It wasn't just a signal. It was a test. The universe had set this challenge for humanity, to see if they were ready to rise to the occasion. Could humanity, with all its flaws, truly control the power of the scent? Could they navigate the politics of the galaxy and protect their world from forces far greater than themselves? Or would they succumb to the temptation of power, letting greed and division tear them apart? The weight of the question pressed heavily on Elena's shoulders, and yet she found herself no closer to an answer. She had always believed that humanity's greatest strength was its capacity for hope, for resilience. But in this moment, as alien forces encroached upon Earth and factions fought for control, Elena couldn't help but wonder, was that enough? She needed to act quickly. The scent was growing stronger, its influence spreading to every corner of the Earth. People were starting to experience more intense reactions to it. Some found themselves consumed by an overwhelming sense of purpose, while others fell into madness, driven to extreme acts of violence or submission. It was clear that the scent was not something that could be controlled easily, and the longer humanity remained divided, the more likely they were to lose control of it entirely. Elena had no choice but to reach out to the resistance. These were the last hope for Earth's survival, a group of humans who had dedicated their lives to protecting their world from alien influence. She contacted their leader, a man named Jonas, who had long been an advocate for unity among the different human factions. He had his own vision for the future, a future where humanity stood together, not divided by greed or fear. But Jonas, too, was facing his own challenges. His forces were scattered, their resources depleted by constant skirmishes with alien invaders. Despite this, he had managed to form alliances with some of the more cautious alien factions, hoping to build a united front against the more aggressive species. The resistance, however, was far from unified. Trust was in short supply, and betrayal was always lurking just around the corner. As Elena met with Jonas in secret, she realized that there was no simple solution. The scent, the alien factions, the human resistance, they were all part of a larger cosmic dance that would determine humanity's fate. She had no way of knowing how it would all unfold, but one thing was certain. Humanity had been given a chance. The scent had sparked a new era, but whether that era would lead to salvation or destruction was still to be determined. The choices humanity made in the coming days would echo throughout the galaxy for millennia. Would they rise to the challenge, or would they fall under the weight of their own ambition? It was a question Elena couldn't answer, but she knew that whatever happened, the scent would be the catalyst that set it all into motion. The weeks that followed Elena's discovery were a whirlwind of tension, uncertainty, and calculated decisions. As the scent grew stronger, its effects on Earth became more pronounced. People were beginning to change, not in the way one might expect, but in subtle, profound ways. Society, once divided and chaotic, was showing signs of transformation. People, even those from completely different backgrounds, began working together toward a common purpose. Some embraced the scent's power, feeling it ignite something within them that had always been dormant. Others, however, were consumed by fear, believing the changes were unnatural and dangerous. But it wasn't just the humans who were feeling its effects. The alien factions, now more than ever, were racing to control the power of the scent. The Galaxian Empire had already begun deploying their elite forces across Earth, seeking out anyone who exhibited signs of heightened awareness or unnatural abilities brought on by the scent. They believed that by harnessing this power, they could create an invincible force that would give them ultimate control over the galaxy. However, they were far from the only ones with their eyes on Earth. The Therian Collective, with their ethereal, energy-based beings, had sensed the scent's resonance long before anyone on Earth had realized its significance. They had watched humanity from afar, intrigued by the scent's potential to elevate their species to a higher state of existence. To them, this was an opportunity, a chance to finally make contact and offer humanity the key to unlocking their true potential. As Earth's resistance movements grew stronger in response to these threats, Elena found herself facing the difficult truth that humanity might not be ready for what was to come. It wasn't just the alien invaders who were a concern. It was the very nature of the scent itself. Every human who encountered it seemed to be changed in some way, their minds, their emotions, even their physical abilities heightened in ways that were difficult to explain. For some, the effects were subtle, a heightened sense of empathy, an ability to see connections between people and ideas they never noticed before. For others, the scent's influence was more drastic, pushing them to the edge of their sanity or driving them to take extreme actions in the name of the newfound power they believed they could control. Elena's own experience with the scent had been eye-opening. She could feel it now, vibrating just beneath her skin, whispering to her in ways that were becoming impossible to ignore. It was as though the scent had opened a door within her, one that led to a deeper understanding of the universe. She could hear thoughts, clearer, more direct, coming from people around her. The scent had given her a glimpse into the minds of others, as though their emotions, desires, and intentions were laid bare before her. This new ability, though intriguing, was not without its dangers. Elena found herself haunted by the raw emotions she could sense in others: fear, confusion, desperation, and even hate. The scent was amplifying the inner struggles of humanity, pushing people to extremes. Those who were vulnerable, Those who lacked the emotional fortitude to control the effects of the scent were slipping into chaos. Elena knew she couldn't fight this alone. She had to find others like her, those who were able to harness the scent's power without being consumed by it. But where could she turn? Meanwhile, the alien forces were tightening their grip. The Galaxian Empire, underestimating humanity's potential, had begun making calculated moves to wipe out resistance cells. Their strategy was simple: destroy the leaders and break the spirit of the people. Their fleet hovered ominously at the edge of Earth's atmosphere, waiting for the final push that would allow them to invade and take control of the planet. They underestimated one key factor, however: humanity's resilience. Despite the Galaxian Empire's advanced technology and resources, the humans fighting back had a force that the aliens could not understand: the drive to protect their home, their world, and each other. Jonas, the leader of the human resistance, had become more than just a symbol of defiance. He had become a beacon of hope. He and his allies, once scattered and divided, were beginning to unite under a common cause. They saw the scent as their salvation, a way to level the playing field against the alien invaders who had far superior technology. But they also understood the dangers that came with it. The scent wasn't just a weapon. It was a force that could either elevate humanity to new heights or destroy them from within. Elena and Jonas began to work together, sharing their knowledge and resources in the hopes of finding a way to use the scent without succumbing to its darker side. As the tension between the factions continued to escalate, Elena's role became clearer. She was the key to humanity's future, whether they would rise as a united force or fall into the hands of the alien invaders. But she knew that the decision was no longer just about protecting Earth. It was about choosing what kind of species humanity would become. Would they embrace the scent's power, or would they reject it out of fear? Would they fight for the future of their world, or would they fall prey to the same greed and ambition that had so often doomed civilizations in the past? The world had changed irrevocably. With each passing day, the scent's influence grew stronger, and its effects became more unpredictable. Humanity, once divided by borders and ideologies, was now united in ways no one could have foreseen. The once insurmountable differences between nations, races, and cultures were beginning to blur as people connected on a deeper level. The scent, it seemed, was awakening something in humanity. A collective consciousness, a heightened sense of awareness that transcended the individual and tied everyone together. But as the scent spread, so too did its consequences. Elena had known this moment was coming. She had felt the stirring inside her, the pulse of something greater, something beyond human comprehension. But she wasn't prepared for the magnitude of what was happening. The scent was no longer just a passive force. It was actively reshaping the very fabric of human society. It was creating divisions, not just among people, but within individuals themselves. Those who embraced it felt a sense of power, but those who resisted were driven to despair, their minds fractured by the overwhelming rush of emotions and sensations they couldn't control. The scent was amplifying their fears, their insecurities, their darkest thoughts. Elena couldn't help but wonder if humanity was truly ready for this. For all the progress they had made, for all the signs of unity, there was an undercurrent of chaos, an undeniable force of destruction growing just beneath the surface. The scent, it seemed, was not just elevating humanity, it was pushing them to their limits. And those limits were being tested in ways that were both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Meanwhile, the alien forces had not been idle. The Galaxian Empire, which had initially viewed Earth as a primitive, inconsequential planet, was now recalculating their strategy. They had underestimated humanity's capacity to adapt, to grow, to evolve. The scent had done something no weapon or technology could achieve. It had transformed humanity from a species on the brink of collapse into one capable of standing toe-to-toe with the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The Galaxians were beginning to fear what they had unleashed. They had already tried to infiltrate human ranks, but the scent had created a new type of resistance, one that was not bound by the traditional methods of control. Humans were learning to trust each other in ways that had never been possible before. They were creating bonds, forming alliances that transcended their differences. The scent had given them something far more powerful than weapons. It had given them hope, the hope that they could rise above the challenges they had once believed were insurmountable. But the Galaxians were not the only threat humanity faced. The Therian Collective, with their ancient wisdom and energy-based beings, were equally determined to control the power of the scent. They had watched humanity from afar for millennia, and now they believed that Earth was the key to their ultimate ascension. The Therians were unlike any alien race humanity had encountered. They were beings of pure energy, able to manipulate emotions, thoughts, and even reality itself. Their presence on Earth was not one of conquest, but of transformation. They believed that humanity was on the cusp of a new evolution, one that could either elevate them to new heights or doom them to destruction. Elena knew that she couldn't afford to trust either side completely. The scent had already changed her, and she could feel its pull, the way it pushed her to question everything she thought she knew about herself and the world. She wasn't sure who she was anymore, let alone who she could trust. The choices ahead were murky, clouded by the unknown consequences of the power that had been awakened. Would the scent bring humanity closer to enlightenment, or would it tear them apart? Jonas, the leader of the human resistance, was becoming more and more determined to find a way to use the scent without letting it control them. He had seen the potential for both greatness and destruction, and he knew that the fate of humanity rested on their ability to harness this newfound power without being consumed by it. The scent had awakened something in Jonas too, an ancient primal force within him that he had never known existed. But it wasn't just the power that terrified him. It was the way it made him feel, so connected to everyone, so deeply in tune with the thoughts and emotions of those around him, that it was nearly impossible to maintain a sense of self. In a desperate attempt to understand the true nature of the scent, Jonas sought out the Shaper, the mysterious leader of the Therian Collective who had appeared on Earth under the guise of an ally. The Shaper had studied the scent for centuries and had a deep understanding of its power. But their true motives remained unclear. Was the Shaper here to help humanity, or was their involvement just another part of a larger, more complex plan? Elena couldn't decide if she trusted the Shaper or not, but Jonas believed that they held the key to humanity's future. As the search for answers continued, the alien forces began to escalate their attacks. The Galaxian Empire was no longer sitting back and watching. This was a full-scale invasion, and they would stop at nothing to take control of Earth. Their forces were pouring into Earth's atmosphere, deploying fleets of ships designed for total domination. But the resistance was growing stronger by the day. The scent had given humans a new kind of strength, one that the Galaxians hadn't anticipated. Earth was no longer just a battlefield. It was the front line of a galactic war, and humanity was now the most unpredictable force in the galaxy. Elena stood at the forefront of this new era, torn between the possibilities that the scent offered and the dangers it posed. She had seen what it could do, the way it could elevate people to unimaginable heights of intelligence and power. But she had also seen its darker side, the way it could twist minds and ignite destructive impulses. The scent was both a blessing and a curse, and Elena had to decide if humanity was ready for what it had become. Was the future of Earth one of enlightenment, or was it a path toward inevitable destruction? As the final battle approached, Elena made a vow to herself. She would not let the scent control her, nor would she let it control humanity. But what price would she have to pay to ensure that Earth remained free? And who would ultimately emerge victorious in this war for the future of the galaxy? Only time would tell. But Elena knew one thing for certain. Humanity's destiny was in their hands, and they would either rise to the challenge or be consumed by the forces they had awakened. The final stage of the war had arrived, and with it came the undeniable realization that nothing would ever be the same again. Earth was now a battleground, not just for the survival of humanity, but for the very future of the galaxy. The Galaxians, with their advanced technology and overwhelming force, had launched their final assault on Earth's defenses. But the humans, emboldened by the scent and their newfound unity, were fighting back with an unexpected ferocity. The scent had done something to them, something that made them believe, deeply and unquestionably, that they could win. Elena could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her as she stood before the assembly of resistance leaders. The final battle was not just about physical might. It was about the collective will of humanity. The scent had awakened a primal force inside them, one that transcended the individual and connected them all on a level that no alien technology or weapon could touch. It was an energy that had coursed through human history, an untapped potential that had lain dormant for centuries, waiting for the right catalyst to bring it to life. Now, that catalyst had arrived. Jonas stood beside Elena, his face grim, but his resolve unshaken. "We've come a long way," he said, his voice steady. "We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for the future. The scent has changed us, yes, but it's also given us the strength to rise up and face whatever the universe throws at us. We have to finish this, for our people, for our world, and for the future of every human who will ever walk this earth." Elena nodded, the weight of his words settling in. They had come so far, battling the Galaxians, the Therians, and even their own fears, but now they were on the cusp of something even greater. The final battle was set to take place in the heart of the Galaxian fleet, where the fate of Earth would be decided. It was a battle for control, not just of Earth, but of the very essence of humanity. Would they succumb to the power of the scent, or would they master it? The scent had already given humanity the strength to push back against their enemies, but it had also stirred something deeper within them, something they had not anticipated. It had unlocked a hidden potential, one that not only made them stronger, but also made them vulnerable. The more the scent spread, the more it blurred the lines between what was real and what was not. People could now manipulate the very fabric of reality itself, twisting and bending space, time, and energy with their minds. It was an unimaginable power, and one that came with a cost. Elena had witnessed firsthand the effects the scent had on people. Those who embraced it fully had become almost godlike in their abilities, able to control the world around them with nothing more than a thought. But it wasn't just power they had gained. They had also gained a deep connection to each other, to the collective consciousness of humanity. This bond, this shared experience, had made them unstoppable in battle. But it also made them vulnerable. The scent was a double-edged sword, and if it fell into the wrong hands, it could destroy everything they had fought for. The Shaper, leader of the Therian collective, had once told Elena that the scent was a gift that could elevate humanity to heights beyond their imagination. But Elena knew better. She had seen what the scent had done to people, how it had changed them. It had given them power, yes, but it had also made them question their own humanity. How much of what they were now was truly them? How much of their minds and hearts had been influenced by the scent? And if they could change so much, what would they become once the war was over? The Galaxians had no such concerns. They had never intended to give humanity a gift. They had always seen Earth as a means to an end. They wanted the scent, yes, but not for its power to elevate humanity. They wanted it for its power to control, to dominate, to reshape the galaxy in their image. They had underestimated humanity, thought of them as a primitive species unworthy of the scent's power. But now they were learning the hard way that they had misjudged the human spirit. As the final battle began, the sky above Earth was filled with the roar of alien ships, their weapons unleashed in a cataclysmic display of power. But Earth wasn't backing down. The resistance forces, now united like never before, formed a massive defense network, using the power of the scent to fight back against the alien invaders. Elena, Jonas, and the other leaders coordinated the defense efforts, their minds linked together through the collective consciousness that the scent had created. But the battle was far from over. The scent, as powerful as it was was still unpredictable. Even with their newfound abilities, the humans were struggling to maintain control. The Galaxians had deployed their most advanced weaponry, including mind control devices designed to turn the tide of battle in their favor. These devices were capable of overriding the human mind, forcing them to fight for the enemy. The scent, while powerful, was no match for the technology the Galaxians had perfected over centuries. Elena felt the pull of the scent within her, the rush of emotions and thoughts swirling through her mind. She could feel the connection to everyone around her, their hopes, their fears, their dreams. But there was also something darker, something insidious, creeping into her consciousness. She could feel the Galaxian influence, the pressure building, trying to break through the mental barrier she had so carefully constructed. In that moment, Elena realized that the final battle wasn't just about defeating the Galaxians or even mastering the scent. It was about maintaining control over who they were. It was about proving that humanity could stand up to any force, no matter how great, and still remain human. She couldn't let the scent define them. They had to define themselves. The battle raged on, but Elena and the resistance held firm. They were fighting not just for survival, but for the right to shape their own destiny. As the final strike against the Galaxian fleet loomed, Elena knew that the outcome of this war would determine the future of humanity, whether they would rise as masters of their own fate or fall into the abyss of chaos and destruction. It was time for humanity to prove what they were truly capable of.